Hello again. Welcome back to another episode of The Works. I'm Jim.
I'm Diane.
Since we've last chatted, it's like we were on hiatus, but that's okay. You know, sometimes you have to do the things you do, and, well, we're looking for topics, and certainly, speaking of topics, we still have the contest, and I'm going to make it easier. I will produce one that's not nearly as ridiculous as that music mashup that I did with the 8 songs. And I'll make another one of that, but it'll be a clip of this particular episode, which is a new thing that we're discovering that you need to do with podcasts is create clips. We kind of talked about that last time. So
Right. It's an audio podcast, but then it's a video clip. But, oh well. When in Rome.
So yeah, we will produce that, and we want to give the hot sauce away. Shout out to our sponsors, maidenNC.com. Great hot sauce or any event that you might have or thing you want to put it on. If you're into hot sauce, check out www.maidenNC.com. Other quick homework catch-up things from last time that we chatted. Found out that it from the analytics that apparently are available through these different platforms, whether it's Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, Pandora, wherever. It takes a while for when I shouted out that we added Australia and New England to the areas. England, excuse me, the areas that we picked up some listeners. And we appreciate that. It takes a while to get the cities, or more specifically, where. We did in Indiana, it was Illinois, it's Chicago.
Ooh, nice.
And in England, it's Oldham, which is a town in Greater Manchester, England. So I don't know anybody in Oldham other than I'm getting old and I like ham.
Yeah, me too. It's what's for dinner.
Yeah. Apparently Oldham and Greater Manchester is known for having the highest concentration of retail, which I like shopping.
Right.
It's the 5th largest area in Manchester and the 55th most populous in the entire England region.
Wow. I had no idea.
So
that's huge for us.
Then the yin to the yang in Australia, New South Wales, a little place called Warramoo.
That's just fun to say.
And they have 300 people last census.
Huh.
So.
Okay.
And again, I don't know if it's a function of VPN and the way all that works, or, again, just thrilled. It's kind of neat to see that stuff, whether or not, who knows? I have no idea how any of that. Well, I know how it works. It's just a matter of I don't know anybody in those areas, and so maybe again the discovery of what do you listen to, how do you watch? You know, we've kind of talked about that before. But so before we get to today's topic, which is video games, right?
Yeah, the evolution, how we watch, what we do. But you said before we tackle that. Well.
Yeah, I didn't have any much more to say on the new places that we picked up some folks listening, which we appreciate that. I was thinking of pet peeves before.
Yes.
And
what's got you going this week?
Well, it's been a while since we've chatted, so I need to go. The pet peeve of I love that commercial where it's, you know, you have a problem when you're given the same gift every year. And now I'm just trying to remember the things that piss me off because there's so many of them. Well, I know you all know that, but well, not you all, but you know that.
Yes, I do.
Anywho, so yeah, before we dive deep into, I didn't have any pet peeves other than the weather.
Yeah. It's summer, then it's back to spring, and then we're going to get a cold snap.
How about the pet peeve about Paralympics? This is probably not going to go over politically well, but I had no idea, because you told me this, the
One of the
qualifications. Well, is it the one of the qualifications?
Correct.
Is an IQ
of 75 or less.
And I find that amazing. It's one thing from an athlete's perspective that you get tested in all these things and you're measured based on your performance. But what does that have to do with sports? Right?
Right. The other Paralympians, they're missing a leg, an arm.
Well, again, that's part of the But so what you're saying, though, is if you have an IQ of under 70, you kind of qualify for this
yes.
Paralympics.
Well, because we were.
Well, and it's not special.
We were a little confused because we were watching these cross-country skiers finishing, and it's like, well, they looked pretty intact, and it was like,
oh, look, they looked amazing.
They did.
And as a matter of fact, it was the men's, and some of them were crossing the finish line, and
they were in peak physical condition.
Oh, well, tremendous.
Until the last ones to cross the line.
They were still in great shape.
Yeah.
It's just that possibly that's where the IQ kind of showed up. They were kind of towards the end.
Everybody's posing for a picture.
And they slid into the group posing for a picture, causing them all to fall down, which was hilarious. And again, I shouldn't be laughing at that kind of crap. But so, we'll probably get in trouble for that. But what are you going to do? Video games. Let's pivot to that.
Okay. So, what was the first video game you ever played?
Zork, probably. I mean,
Zork.
Well, yeah, that's a classic. You don't know what Zork is?
Is that the one that jumps up and down the
No.
No,
there's
blocks?
no jump. There's no jumping in Zork.
Oh.
Zork was text based.
Oh. Okay. I don't know Zork.
Yeah, you should. Well, again, back to your question. I didn't want to go into great detail about the video games. I think we wanted to talk about kind of the industry in general.
Well,
right.
But it's a nice springboard to figure out what you played first. I mean, I tried to play Pong, but I have poor hand-eye coordination, and I get nervous, and then the paddle never would connect with the ball, and it was just, or Breakout. That would get me way too nervous. I'm like, I'm connecting, I'm doing okay, and then, just.
No, but see here, this is where you equate an arcade with a video game, and I don't necessarily equate the same. And again, I think maybe it is different for.
There were the home. There was the Atari.
Well, you never had. Did you have an Atari?
No.
No. Okay. Did you have any home system at all?
No.
No. Did you have a computer at home?
No.
So okay, then I guess reality
that's why I'm curious as to, how did you start? It was at home, and then there were arcades.
And when we talk about this topic, I guess I look at the whole area of arcade video games versus video games. Maybe to me, I guess I look at video games and the subset being arcade, because arcade is specifically in my mind. It's there's a timeline. I don't go to. Hell, you can't find arcades anymore. In the traditional sense. Yes, Dave and Buster's, you can win all these damn tickets for the stupid overpriced crap that you could buy. But as far as a true arcade go, that doesn't exist. That was an early 80s thing. Again, we're dating ourselves.
And they're trying to bring them back, but it's more 21 and over. It's a bar.
Sure.
And then
Clever
you
concept.
get,
Sure.
and they're the old arcade games.
Which makes sense because, again, I don't think this generation,
they wouldn't be interested in
because they have everything at their fingertips.
Right.
The devices that we have, the phones, the systems you could mod, the classic handhelds from the big three. It's they don't know a time where you couldn't get entertainment like this.
Right.
Outside the home. Honestly, again, it's
they
no
don't
different
understand that when you would die in the old-timey video games, you had to go back to the very beginning. Or if you're in the arcade, you had to put in another quarter to keep
9
going.
seconds.
Now we're just, you want to go back to your previous save? Yes, okay. I mean, I think that's why I didn't play video games. Is one, I didn't have a talent for it. Two, I didn't have the money for it. And I wasn't patient enough to learn patterns. I mean, heck, I never cleared a Pac-Man screen or a Donkey Kong level.
But again, I hate to say that there is, in my mind, still a clear audience, a main audience for a video arcade game, or for a video game period. In our day, growing up, 95% male. I would have to say. I could be wrong. I'm not trying to be a bigot, but you never saw a girl in an arcade.
Mm-mm.
So your exposure to it, I think, came later in life because you had males that enjoyed the video game, whether it was, again, and honestly, after 83, 84, the Funway freeways of Central Ohio were non-existent. You could not go anywhere.
Oh, yeah, Funway
to
freeway
get
at Gold Circle Mall. Mm-hmm.
You could not go anywhere and find, other than Chuck E. Cheese. And again, those aren't, they're arcade games, but they're ticket games. It's pusher games. It's
that's
claw games.
When Sony came out with, there was the PlayStation, the GameCube.
No, that's Nintendo.
Nintendo GameCube.
You're proving
No,
my
I
point.
was just trying to figure out the earliest consoles that once the arcades went away, what did you play at home?
Well, see, again, I think there's a distinct lineage. I go back to let's talk about Zork.
Mm-hmm.
Zork was a text-based adventure. I remember playing it around 78, 79. It was first available for home computers, and in particular, I got the Commodore 64 in 80, 81, 82, I believe. And forgive me if I'm a little off on dates, but we played Zork in school. We played that on the TRS-A 80s or 90s. What were they? That was the computer labs back in the days of the Radio Shack. Trash 80s is what we used to call them. But and I do recall buying a copy of Zork for the Commodore. I think it was from Hart's in Central Ohio, but it was a text-based game. And the first thing, one of the first few things is that you wake up, you're in a house, and you go check the mail. You open a mailbox, and you have to type all that. It's text. There's no, yes, in the video game, yes. Back to your point, from a lineage perspective, things like Tempest, Dragon's Lair, Pong, all those existed at a higher sophistication. But let's face it, technology, those cabinets were huge.
Right.
The CRTs
and the home version was not the same.
Well, you couldn't. There was no comparison. The microchip in those days, and what you could do in the landscape of you needed a big console. You needed a cabinet to contain all of the motherboard and the chipsets to be able to play these games. Dragon's Lair was an interesting one because it was the first one, and I think the only one ever that did Laserdisc. It was all Laserdisc. That's what made.
Idea.
Well, it was cartoon. You probably never saw it, did you? So it was literally drawn. It was a cartoon, and so you're running down, a hallway, and all of a sudden there presents you a left or a right. You have to move the joystick, and there's a 3-second pause until the laser disc goes to the spot where you move left.
Okay.
And then it plays the left scene. It plays, again, clever programming,
mm-hmm.
In order to put all that together. But it was, and again, to your point, all pattern. There was no randomness to it. There couldn't be, because you had to program every outcome.
Now, see, that would have been fun. But
so, yeah, that was Dragon's Lair. But so, from your recollection, though, again, I think that, and maybe girls just picked it up differently. And again, this generation,
they all game.
Everybody it transcends gender, whichever four there might be.
Right.
At any given
that's
moment.
Limiting, yeah.
But the video game, I think, again, were you and I, the Xers. I don't think baby boomers as much picked up on. Again, I think we're the first the Gen X is really
we embraced it.
We suffered through. If you think about it, though, we suffered through. I remember getting Microsoft Flight Simulator 1.0, and it would take 20 minutes to load. And I think it was 3 or 4 of those 5.25-inch floppies.
Wow.
It took forever to load, and it was just absolutely horrendous. But again, at the time, it was amazing what you could do with
that.
with
Well,
a home computer.
I'm just amazed because I didn't start playing until the DS Lite, and my first Zelda game was Phantom Hourglass, and it was so much fun. And then I looked at all the original Zelda games, and they're so rudimentary, but it was such an adventure for y'all. I can't imagine going back and playing those and thinking this is great because I didn't start on those.
Well, there's a bit of nostalgia in playing something that, like in a way, Zelda the series. Let's face it, that's been around, 45 years now? With 50, I mean, how long? So the first Zelda was 81, 82 on the NES. But see, that's the thing that, again, I don't think you can appreciate your comment. So you wouldn't want to go back and play Zelda as it was as an 8-bit or 16-bit game on the NES. Is
Right.
what you're saying.
But if you grew up with that, then you would be nostalgic and you'd want to play it.
And so one of the things that, for me, kind of ruined, there's that whole thing in 1982, 83 when the video game market just completely fell apart. Remember?
Why did it fall apart?
What was that damn E.T. video game that
that
they
they
rushed to
buried
market
in
and they
the-
buried? There was a
in the desert.
cute little, documentary about that. And of course, I've got a copy of E.T. the Atari game.
Mm-hmm.
And, at one point, just like our Beanie Babies were worth lots of money and we were going to retire off of it. Now they're not worth anything because everyone's got a copy of them because they dug them up.
They did.
But one of the things that I think the male experienced or the guys experienced with the growth and the change in video games is that you had the introduction of all these other formats, which just it got to the point, what killed it for me is the fighting game. So early on, the only type of games that you typically had were action adventure,
Mm-hmm.
some RPG stuff, strategies, puzzles.
Yeah, that's my
typical.
speed.
What you would get for the Atari, or and in my family, the Odyssey was the home computer, or not computer, but the home video game system of choice, which was the worst thing ever because it was one thing that Atari didn't have the rights to Pac-Man, but they attempted to make the Pac-Man for the Atari look kind of like the arcade. I mean, it's not even close. But then the Odyssey, which was 3 generations, technically a little more advanced than the Atari, but the Odyssey decided that it would make games like Pac-Man, but call them Casey Munchkin. I mean, Jesus God. And plus, instead of the dots not moving, our dots moved.
Oh.
So, you're now chasing floating dots around the damn, trying to understand what the pattern there is. And of course, then the other classic, the initial one was the Intellivision. Any family that had the Intellivision, that was the expensive one. And the graphics were so much better than the other two. But back to my point. So early on, it was, for me, easy to enjoy most of the games because they fell into that category of action adventure,
Mm-hmm.
RPG, and strategy. And we really, and as a matter of fact, we really didn't get sports until mid '80s. The first decent sport games that were out there. That's a whole amazing series. But like I said, what killed it for me is again, what just drove me, everything in the early 90s became that first-person Doom shooter or fighter. Yeah. And everything from that entire genre is what is now, even today,
Oh yeah, we saw one of the previews of games coming up, and it's just
It's all
different
fighting.
monsters. It's all fighting.
It's turned me off from the beginning, and again, maybe it's because I didn't grow up with that particular
Genre
altered
to
beast.
start. Yeah.
So it's Resident Evil. Now, don't get me wrong. First person shooters are different. To me, first person shooters versus the fighting is just I can't do it. And now, of course, you add on top of that the world of MMORPGs. The massively multiplayer online things.
Nope.
Not interested. I want to play at my own pace, my own leisure.
Right.
It would be one thing to play Clancy's, all the different army simulator games.
Right. It's important that you have a team, but no, I don't want to play with others, and because when I'm done, I just want to. I don't care if I'm in the middle of a campaign or whatever you want to call it. When I'm done, I'm done.
Well, that's the difference. Again, unfortunately, that's the difference. Is that those require it's co-op.
Yeah.
So, and again, we've kind of talked about this before. The current generation, hell, a lot of their social skills and a lot of the social ability, actually, if it wasn't for those platform games,
right,
in which you're on TeamSpeak or whatever the hell it is that they're all,
Discord. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how they all talk. That's how they all. Our son has friends throughout the country that he plays with constantly. So, and especially when COVID hit and nobody got to get together, so you made remote friends or you stayed remote friends, and this is their world. No, it's crazy.
So yeah, the once we got past the the action adventure, we started to introduce things like the fighting, the first person shooting. Then we had platforms, which again I'm a big fan of from a platform perspective. Let's face it, Mario, Zelda.
Yeah, I like Zelda.
Huge platforms that Donkey Kong won't go away. They're great. Simulation games don't really. I that's one of the things for me. I'm a big. I started out with Civilization. I miss SimCity, the basic concept of that. Yes, there are lots of different kinds that are out there. Hell, I was laughing. Well, we saw there's a weed store simulator.
Yeah.
And there's a simulator for everything. But and
well, the farming simulator, that is amazing. You could actually learn a lot about farming and the machinery, what you would need. If you, but by playing that game, you would actually learn
it's gotten too sophisticated for me.
So much.
So yeah, the 25 Farm Simulator 25 is to the point where it's so sophisticated that you want somebody, you spend money on getting soil samples analyzed for what kind of nutrients are in them. Then you have to pair it with the right fertilizer. Hell, I'm just excited when I get a tractor that can pull, my equipment without me having to put weights on the front of it, and it's amazing
how detailed,
how much those games have just matured and evolved. But yeah, I'm a big simulator fan. I like the platforms.
Yeah, and so Harvest Moon and that type of farming is just too piddly for you. Considering you did the farming simulator, I mean that's
because those are repetitive things.
Yeah.
It's different, in my opinion. It's much like you have an aversion to playing an older Zelda. I personally don't like when Zelda became a real person in what's the series? Fire Emblem? No, not that's a whole different. What's Link's Awakening? No, what's the non-cartoony Link Zelda? What are those called?
Oh, like Tears of the Kingdom?
Yes. I don't like
Breath
any
of the
those.
Wild.
Don't like any of them.
We haven't played any of those.
Don't like
those
them.
Are
Don't want
really
to.
good.
To me, again.
You have
to me,
puzzles
Zelda,
in there. You have. I mean.
I know, and I've tried them, but to me, again, call it bullheadedness, but Zelda is
Majora's
the
Mask.
two-dimensional
character.
Other than the 3D was. That whole platform was tremendous. And it's funny to hear kids talk now. People have started to pick up the 3D when Nintendo had that you didn't need glasses for. You didn't need glasses for. That's probably why I got my cataracts.
Yeah.
Jesus, God. Again, when I was told, don't sit too close to the TV.
Right.
We were told that.
Don't make funny faces.
And if you do that, you'll go blind. And that's almost true. I can attest to that.
I enjoyed, since I never played the older Zelda, and I started with more cartoony ones with the Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass. I mean, those were fantastic. I mean, I lost hours in those games, and I never did finish Spirit Tracks because the kids, they were 4 or 5 years old, and they would grab my DS Lite and they would start playing. They deleted that file twice before I got it finished. And that's the other thing, as you get through different stations in life, and technology changes, your gaming changes, whether it was the arcade and then you had the home systems, and then when you get busy and you don't have more than 30 minutes to yourself, you're not necessarily going to bring out the PlayStation. I think it's just easier to grab a handhold, or that way, you're playing something and your kids aren't going to want to play it too. Here's your own handheld. I mean,
well, we had a disagreement over. We were talking about this beforehand, and where I think you got introduced more and became more of a fan of gaming later
Puzzles.
in life.
Yeah,
and it's our generation that literally suffered through. It's easier to watch somebody play on today on a home unit.
Yeah,
because
I don't mind watching
80,
you play.
Well, yeah, you got an 80-inch television.
Drake's, what's Drake's Fortune? What Nick Drake?
Uncharted. Again, great.
Yeah, I
great,
liked watching those. That's a puzzle,
and that's a platform in a way, on the PlayStation. But I think
now,
where you don't appreciate the fact that the monitors, the screens, and the delivery of the game. Right. Let's face it. Today, there's instant gratification with these.
No matter where you
can download. You don't have to go to a store to get any of these cartridges. As a matter of fact, that's the latest complaint, is that you don't own anything. It's like with Spotify and all these other services that we all get our music from, because
you don't
again, a convenience of having to lug around a gazillion. Like, God, the CD, what was the CD jukebox? It contained up to 200 CDs.
Yeah.
You don't need that anymore.
No,
and so with games, again, it's the ability to walk around with this piece of technology that, let's face it, you had no idea in the 80s that you'd be able to do this on something, a device that you hold in your hand, and you can play anything.
And whether it's on your phone, your
hell, Netflix,
Switch.
To your point about earlier, Netflix can deliver some of these more sophisticated games, because again, what's the bottleneck? The game came. Why did the home systems outperform early on PCs? Is because you had all the code in the game on the disc, on the cartridge. It was loaded into that machine. And of course, when the advent of online gaming, you had the damn modem that wasn't all that fast. Now you can stream games that are gigabytes in size, in source code. And my point there is, again, it's tremendous what we have today in which to play a game, and yet Puzzle Crush, Candy Crush, these games are still so widely popular. And I don't know if it's because, again, they're targeted.
I think you can get away with playing a game on your phone if you're sitting in the office at work and you have your Switch Lite. They know you're playing a game. But when you're holding your phone, you might not be playing a game. So I think that's maybe that it's an escape, an easy one to play games on your phone.
Sure.
Because nobody knows what you're doing. Nobody's going to judge. And do people judge? If you see somebody out there playing a video game in public with their handhold,
I'd rather see that. It doesn't annoy me like people talking or having conversations on the phone. And they're shopping. My favorite is you're walking behind somebody shopping, and they're coming towards you in the aisle, and they're talking. And I'm just the kind of person that maybe they're looking for something. I don't know. I'd like to help, and I find myself listening, and next thing you know, I think they're talking to themselves in a crazy sort of way, but they're actually having a phone conversation because they got something in their ear,
Right.
that they can hear with, and it's
or it's somebody on speaker. I hate that even worse. But you got so many different ways to play games now, and I think it changes. What you started playing on, the convenience, the variety of games.
well,
The games that I like to play, I don't find those on the PlayStation. I find those on my Switch Lite or the 3DS, the puzzle adventure games. So
there's
I guess it
history behind
depends
there's history behind that. The reason,
what your genre, what you like.
well, the PlayStation was, and still, I think to this day, its hardware is more suited for racing simulators,
Yeah.
where the screen refresh rates are high in
And
order
they
to
need
deliver
to be, yes.
in order to deliver the quality of graphics that they do. The types of games that you like, again, work fine, and they typically, yes, we hear that everything ports to all the different platforms.
Right.
So there's almost no reason that you can't find a game similar on any of the different.
Right.
What was the one that made the Xbox famous? Halo. What's the one that made the PlayStation famous?
Right.
So on and so forth. But and you talk about, again, the different genres. The one that I am shocked that we didn't take advantage of more, and I loved it. Rock Band.
Yeah, that was
Music.
fun.
You could,
As a family, we could do that.
and from my perspective, why not teach? As a matter of fact, we had every musical instrument. Do you realize how many people realize there was a keyboard?
Mm-hmm.
A real full length keyboard. And my point there is, I wish instead of they were doing the colors,
Red, yellow, yellow.
why not actually teach somebody
Yeah, how to play
how
and
to
read
play?
music.
And because I would joke it, I knew the riff of, half of the every song that we'd hear on the radio. I could go, oh, that's green, yellow, red, green, yellow, red, red, and it'd be nice to be able to be taught that, because
Mhm.
again, there's some that, like myself, like to be taught by doing it versus reading it and
Mm-hmm.
practicing my scales.
Yeah, the drums were fun, and even singing. Those of you that know me, I can't really sing, and I had never done karaoke. So for me to play Rock Band and sing in front of my family, that was a huge moment for me. That was fun.
Well, it makes it easy because you have a backtrack, and
Yeah.
so much like technically karaoke works, is it we all sound a lot better on those platforms because we got something helping us. But
Right.
I was
Liquid
shocked.
Courage.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I'm disappointed that music, that genre, never really took off. And again, I think it was a moneymaker because, let's face it, you had to buy guitars,
Mm-hmm.
you had to buy a bass, you had to buy the
songs.
drums, you had to. Oh, and that was the. But see, here's the thing: is that's where the world today exists. Is it's in that you're buying Grand Theft Auto cash.
Right.
You're buying,
Canada.
upgrades. Yeah, you're Canada. You're buying upgrades for, I just got 2K25. No, I guess that's redundant. 22K was the latest iteration of EA Sports Golf. That was included in the PlayStation.
TK25.
Not T. No T in
2K.
it.
Sorry,
Yeah, 2K25. I was right. Or at least I think. But there, either through experience, you level up, right? But that's another facet of the generation now. Is
Yeah. I want
you
to
can pay to get the
level
best clubs.
Yeah.
You can pay to get the best outfits and clothes.
Right.
Well, that's funny too, because those that have certain limitations where if the seam of your sock isn't right, you can't put your socks on that day.
Right.
But in the virtual world, no.
You can dress any way you want.
Yeah. The
Oh,
tag
I
won't.
get it.
The tag won't bug you.
I didn't understand the draw to that. But then I've met many people that they want the cute stuff. Even on the freemium games on the phone, that they will pay to get the cute stuff. And I'm stubborn. I'll play for whatever it takes to get whatever experience each day to level up.
Used to be with the adventure games that, again, another add-on was, because we've got a ton of these, the guides.
Oh,
Nothing
yes.
better than the guidebook.
The books, an actual physical book.
Yeah, there was a period of time where life was a little lean, and so I lived close to a Target, and as I was playing my GoldenEye, I'd pause the game, walk over to Target, read the guide, figure out what I needed to do, and come back and
home.
go back home and complete that level and go back and read the guide again.
Well, at least that was better than the 1-800 numbers or the paid.
There was, money was spent on these 900 numbers with Nintendo. Again, that's another talk about
blast from the past.
Yeah, having game instructors. They weren't called game instructors, but Nintendo had, they had to help the tip line.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, they were making money on helping you get through. I think the one that I remember calling about the first Zelda and that, the Triforce piece. And I think that was one of the last ones, or defeating the last dragon. I don't recall, because again, we didn't have the guidebooks back then.
Right.
Now they do. But now they don't anymore.
Now they don't. You have to look it up online.
Well, because all these because everyone on frickin' Reddit, they've mapped all this shit out. And again, I don't know where they get all the time to do it.
I know, but I still like the physical book. It's easier to flip back and forth.
The internet's great now. I mean, honestly, yes, it would be nice. I think the thing that we were big Animal Crossing fans, and one of the things, part of that series is certain combinations, anything that involves crafting, anything that involves making something, that recipes, it's nice to have a reference. I mean, hell, with the recipe, it's nice to have a cookbook.
Right.
And these damn games had that,
and it spelled out all the different categories, so you could group like things together or make the appropriate coffee. I mean, that was fun. And some of the older books still work for that information in their latest one. But yeah, I mean, those were good. Or the Zelda books, so you knew where every shrine was, that in case you missed out. I mean, that was nice. So you could thumb through it. I mean, it's great looking it up online, but I miss the physical media.
And so does anybody, do they have any old game systems? Or have they bought some of these retro versions of the Atari that has, 200 games in it? Have you kept any of your old systems as you upgrade? I still find myself playing the 3DS often. As a matter of fact, we went to our first gaming convention last year.
Oh, yeah. Southeast Game Exchange, Siege.
In Greenville, South Carolina. And 3-day event. Just amazing what that industry has created as far as influencers and YouTubers and all these people that create content around these old games.
Right. And it's physical content. They want physical content. Yeah.
So there you go. I guess I just have to dye my hair purple and start streaming. Matter of fact, my claim to fame was I was one of the first persons ever, back when I was working television in Lancaster, Ohio, to do a video game review on TV.
What game did you review?
Well, there was a role-playing game on the Commodore. I can't remember what it was. Plus, I did the Olympic game. I'm sure I did Simulator. I'm sure I did. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of some of those. But, yeah, and of course now we got a whole genre of influencers making money sitting here.
Playing old games.
Just in general, playing games. Well, they're little in the corner. There's a cameo of them talking about playing the game that they're talking about. I mean, for the love of God. Anyway, so that's so that's our little trip down memory lane with video games. As a reminder, we'll produce a little bit easier clip for our Hot Sauce giveaway, the Music Mash montage. Listen for that. And yeah, that's all I've got at the moment. I think I'm talked out.
Yeah, I'm ready for a cup
which
of
is
coffee.
unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but this was fun. It's your experience and my experience were different, but yet here we are still gaming, and yeah, it's still fun.
Yeah, but your issue is that anytime you run into a boss you can't kill, you yell for one of us to do it for you.
Yes.
Well, that's not gaming.
Well,
I guess
I like the adventure and the problem solving. If I have to move a camera and aim and shoot at the same time, I can't do it.
so. You have to admit, though, on the PlayStation, one of the things we were doing these escape rooms.
That was fun.
Those are pretty good. There's a series of escape rooms. As a matter of fact, I guess that would fall under puzzle or strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, 12 categories or 12 genres of games: puzzle, strategy, sports, simulation, shooters, RPG, racing, platformers, music. That's the one I think. Again, I think we missed the boat on that. Teaching anyone how to play an instrument. Fighting, arcade, adventure, and action adventure. Which again, I don't know the difference between action adventure and well, yeah, I guess I do. So Drake, the
That's
Uncharted
more,
series, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, I think certainly would fall in the action adventure. But an adventure game like Morrowind, like Elder Scrolls, Elder Scrolls. I think those. Well, and Zelda.
Whatever happened to like Little Big Planet, where you could create your own worlds, and then what was it, Mario Maker? You could create worlds and publish out there.
See, that's the thing.
What genre is that? And why aren't there more of those?
Well, that's a platform adventure. So I guess Little Big Planet. That's an adventure game, certainly action adventure. I would call it.
Right, but then was it 2 that you could create your own worlds?
Well, building your own, again, that was just the notion of.
And people published it. You could play
Sure.
their games.
You make your own golf course. Part of all these sport games now is you make your own golf courses.
Okay.
And you have people play your golf courses. You know what I should do is create a golf course, but actually here's the game: is golf course golf cart simulator. And put yourself in those situations where you do the stupidest shit you can do with the golf cart, whether it's running it between 2 trees and jamming it so you got stuck.
Instead of Crazy Taxi,
Well,
you have golf cart.
Well, you're supposed to be playing golf, but by the 4th hole, the beer gal has come by 4 times, and now all of a sudden it's more of a contest of, hey, I can take that hill, or I think I can jump that bridge.
I would play
with
that
my
game.
golf cart. So yeah, that would be a kind of a fun simulator type thing. Is golf cart craziness on a golf course?
Yeah. Why don't you? If you come up with any good ones, leave it in the comments. Let us know what your crazy idea of a video game would be.
Yeah. And until next time, this is Jim.
I'm Diane.
And you've been listening to another edition of The Works.